as ECE, enabling this information technology. Okay, so welcome everyone to this information session about Capstone design projects. So we have with us tonight Professor Cameron Bedinan of MIE, who is the coordinator of ECE490, Professor Bruno Korst, myself, I'm Komin Feng, for those of you who haven't had me before. And we also have a couple work study students who are helping me out in what I would say developing a stronger ecosystem around the Capstone project and experience. So Tassin there, and then Pia, I think you'll be online when she finishes class. So they're going to be helping me with tonight's session and also with future activities regarding the Capstone course. Okay, so what we're doing, okay, so here, oops, okay, there. So what we hope to address today are some of the key questions which you may have about the Capstone. So what is the Capstone course? What choices do you have? How are the courses, can I, yeah, okay, that's good. How are the courses set up through the term? How do I find a team, a project, a supervisor? And when should I start? What should I do before September, the official start of the year? And then what is the timeline for the course? Okay, so we're going to be answering questions like this. Overall, the Capstone course, it's always in your final year. It's a full year, so 2-term course, so 2 course equivalent. You work in a team to carry out a project from defining the problem to developing and demonstrating the solution. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's see. What did I share the screen? Okay. Sorry, everyone. Okay. Let's see. Let's go here. Thank you, Tassin. Chat, share screen, and I am desktop 2. Share. There. And let me move this over. Oops, here. Okay. Is that okay online? Is that okay? You're checking in from the Zoom session too, Tassin? Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so that's a lot better. And okay, so we just had here, let me go back here. Okay, so we talked about the questions, and now we're on to describing the course, the Capstone course. Let's see, carry on. Okay, the general goal is to allow you to apply and integrate your knowledge after spending so many years at school and doing a PY possibly, to practice communicating your ideas and your work to colleagues, managers, supervisors, a critical skill that you will be employing throughout your career. Can people hear me okay online too? Okay. To give you a chance to develop your teamwork and project management skills, and to gain practical experience in some particular area of interest that you have. So, very simply, there are 3 options for you in terms of the courses that we offer here for the Capstone. There's ECE496, which is the ECE flagship Capstone course, and it's basically only for ECE students, and the supervisors are also from ECE, mostly. You can go outside. That's possible, as long as they agree and they're faculty members. Then there's the APS490, which is our faculty-wide multidisciplinary capstone course. Okay, so here, the emphasis here is that it takes students from multiple departments, industrial, engineering science, mechanical. So you're working with students in other departments and as well as faculty supervisors from other departments, okay? Then finally, mainly for those who have the biomedical engineering minor, there's the BME 498, the biomedical engineering capstone course. And this one is a much smaller class of about 20 students. And it includes not only engineering, so it's multidisciplinary in that it goes beyond engineering into those students who are in arts and science, studying physiology, kinesiology. So you have an even broader range of students to work with. And it emphasizes, of course, understandably, medical technology, and there's this kind of entrepreneurship bent to it. Okay, so those are your three options. And in terms of the setup, for 496, the students form and choose a team. They propose and choose a project, and they find a supervisor. And then the system, there's an online system which supports the entire course, everything from the registration of your team all the way to all the reports and the evaluations. With APS 490, the students apply to go to the course. They can rank the projects that they're interested in, and then ultimately a team, a supervisor, and a project and client are assigned to you. And then finally, with the BME 498, the students basically develop the project on their own, and then they, conceive a project, and then they develop it in the second semester. Okay, so those are your three basic options. And so we'd like to go through these various options for you. I will start by asking Professor Bedinan to talk about the multidisciplinary capstone course first, and then he will leave after this. And then I will talk about BME 498, and then finally ECE 496. And then afterwards, to get you going on this, there's an activity where we can start to get you to register your interests. So stick around for that. And there's also opportunities for you to help out if you're interested in getting started and engaging your classmates in helping to develop a community around Capstone. Okay, so with that then, I will stop sharing, and I will ask Professor Bedinan, okay, okay, Cameron, hold on, let me, let's see, leave closed captioning, leave closed, okay. Okay, I'm going to try to move you in, Cameron, to, so that you show up for the people here.
Kumar, I'm sharing the screen. Do you see that on the screen?
Yeah, hold on. I'm just getting this ready now. And is there a full screen? I'm not sure.
I do have it on the Zoom share screen. Is working for me. I see that.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's. Oh, I think there is an option I can. Hold on. Let me try to view, and I'll hide non-video participants and hide hide by side. Okay, I think that's full screen. Let's try that. Okay, I think that's as good as I can get it.
Good.
Go ahead.
Do you see that on the screen?
Yes.
And cool. Do you hear me well?
Yes.
Good. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Professor Fang and Professor Kors and the team over there at ECE for organizing this and inviting me. I'll be very quick. I know that you have a very busy agenda and a very minimum time, so I will be quick. And I will be glad to answer any question. Maybe a few of them right now that Professor Fang is going to flag it after I do my presentation. And then after that, later on, you can contact me directly. My email is on the MIE email address. It's bedinan@mie.utoronto.ca.
Oh, hold on. Sorry, Cameron. Hold on a second. I did something. Oh, okay. There you go. Okay, I won't touch it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You hear me, yeah? Okay.
Yes.
So I'm glad to be here. I would like to, this slide that you are going to see is some of the operation that we have for this year. And then after that, I will also briefly describe the course. So this is the list of the clients, because our projects are all client driven. And even if a student team comes up with a project, we definitely would like to see a client with that project. And it goes through approval process. So you can see a diversified group of clients that are here and coming from different industry sectors, from aerospace, automotive, biomedical, finance, and hospitals, and so on. So quite a big group of clients that we get their projects, and some of them students driven, and they go to the client, they find the client, and they bring it to us. For example, we have a project with Autodesk that was a student at the PY that went and worked with Autodesk, and they brought a project to us, and we are running that this year. Of course, it's a team of students. The student teams, the way that we, this year we have about 21 projects. We call it Multidisciplinary Capstone Project, MCP. We have 21 clients, 19 faculty supervisors across the faculty. So it depends on the nature of the project. We have electrical engineering faculty supervisor, mechanical, chemical, and so on, civil, and so on. We have got around 100 students. Around 25% to 30%, 25% of that is coming from electrical and computer engineering from your department. But we have got everyone almost on board. And this project, as Kuman mentioned, is multidisciplinary. So students in team of 3 to 5, they work across the faculty on a project. We get sometimes participation beyond the faculty. And we have got students, for example, from Faculty of Art and Science, Computer Science, which is quite popular, and we always engage them in our capstone. They are a good asset to the projects, and they help the teams for certain expertise that we need to involve them. We get projects from Faculty of Medicine and used to have Faculty of Dentistry involved, and so on. So it's quite diversified group of the projects coming even with participation beyond the faculty. It is a capstone design, as Professor Fang mentioned. Is a multidisciplinary, is a capstone design, and it's a design, 100% design. Client-driven, students define the solution to a creative, iterative, open-ended design process. So it's a quite, these projects are complex at the capstone level, and that's why we need to get to the approval process to make sure they are capstone, and we engage the capstone coordinator, like for example, in your department, Professor Fang and Professor Kors, to get these things approved on the disciplinary level to make sure that it fits to ECE. So we need, these are multidisciplinary students, they need skill beyond one discipline, and also demonstration of engineering judgment and economy, health, safety, and other pertinent factors affecting design process. And it is a teamwork. So as I mentioned to you, team of 3 to 5 students, they work on this project. Most of the projects are around 5. 3 is on the low side. We had very rare, but 1 or 2 projects on the 3 side, but normally a norm is about 5 students. And this interaction with the client is very, very important. That's why these are client-driven. Project management, and those are a routine that we need to make sure that the project at the end of the day, the team succeeds. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we need a proof of concept in terms of physical prototype, and occasionally depends on the nature of the project, sometimes some simulators, simulations, and so on. So we do need proof of concept at the end of the day. So with that, we have capstone coordinators across the faculty overseeing the implementation of this course, and they participate in this course. I'm the course coordinator. I've got normally a couple of TAs to help me. This year, TAs, you see the names over there, but these people may not be the TA next year. But you see that it's quite populated from experts in the field. And as I mentioned to you, supervisors are coming from different programs, depends on the nature of this project. So industry-driven, client-driven, multidisciplinary, subject matter expert across the faculty and the resources within the Capstone and undergraduate labs within the faculty are helping the teams to achieve their goal in terms of finding a solution to these open-ended problems, design problems. So these are again, a repeat of what I mentioned. Overall, we have a group of stakeholders involved here, including the client and subject matter experts, supervisors. Your teams are going to be supervised by a faculty member. And if the faculty doesn't have the expertise across the disciplines, normally we utilize subject matter experts on that. We do have a big elements of engineering leadership and communication involved. So ISTEP ECP is involved as a subject matter expert in the course to help the team in terms of communication aspects of the projects. Normally, we do need safety training. Each program, they have their own safety training. For example, for mechanical, last year, mechanical MIE students had to go to the safety training. The deadline was September 29, and they did that. I'm sure that your department and other departments, they have their own safety protocol that they want all the Capstone students to go through, which you need to fulfill that. Course per se doesn't have a safety training. We just rely on the department to implement their safety. So a few of the project requires NDA. So NDA, remember that is different than IP. IP belongs to the teams, is undergraduate educational classwork. But NDA is something that we want to recognize and acknowledge some of this proprietary information that we receive, and we ask the teams to follow that NDA. So this NDA, if a client asks for NDA, we normally provide that. We have a template, and we ask them to sign that. We don't change this template. It's a very standard University of Toronto undergraduate Capstone NDA for APS 490 built in for that. At the end of the day, for proof of concept, normally the program offers around $1,000. Max, actually, this year, $1,000 per team. But some teams, they don't use it because they don't need a physical prototype. The cost is not that, but some teams, they use it. But that's the max that we provide. This is for this year. I don't know about next year. This is an example of a project. We have so many examples of that. Since this course was launched back in 2013, we have so many of them. That this is, for example, an unmanned aerial vehicle. The project was given to us by the Sky Guide, which was the industry practically advisor for this project. Students from computer engineering, electrical, and mechanical. They work and design this practically UAV, which it had a special mission for certain payload that it was carried and practically dispersed. So these are very real-life projects, and we are these projects are highly competitive. I would like to tell you about the timeline. Normally, we wrap up the current year course around mid-April, toward end of April, and then we start to release the project for next year as of early May, mid-May. So when you receive, you are going to see that this year is going to be run by staff within the undergraduate program at MIE, which we are going to work with with Professor Fang and Professor Kors to get these things approved. And we have a mechanism to share with you. So there is an online mechanism that Professor Fang can explain to you because he designed it. So we share through that Google Drive, and the students apply for that. And now, if you have a project and you are in PY, or you have a project, you know a client, you can team up with people and bring the product. Remember, project needs approval and practically needs a client. So if you have a student-driven project, we don't do that. We definitely need a client for this project because that's a very valuable experience for you guys. That's all. I'll be glad to answer maybe 2, 3 questions. And then after that, you have my email. Professor Fang can share that with you. And then you can contact me. But soon, I'm meeting actually with the staff of NIE tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. I have a meeting. And soon we are going to release some information regarding that after that meeting to you guys, how to apply. But don't rush for that because still we are running the course this year. We are at the very critical point of that. But if you have a project, by all means, you can look into that. But approval and posting of this project starts in May, as of May. And normally to the end of June, we wrap it up. Now, if there are a few projects that have not been staffed, matched by students, we normally at the end of the day wrap it up by mid-August. Mid-August, everybody should have a project and project will be completed, staffed completely. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cameron. Any questions from the audience and online? You can post your question on the chat. We'll just give you a minute. This is specifically for APS 490 while we have Professor Bedinan on. Let's see. What is the process?
Come on. I don't see the chat. Please read a couple of these questions.
Okay.
And
well, I can put, let's see. Well, let me just try to look here. What is the process to enter into this course? Do you simply enroll? Okay, so the process for enrolling, we'll post up more details, but basically you need to apply to APS 490 and to list the projects that you're interested in.
Come on, it is a very good question. And if you have a big audience and if you are recording, I want them to know that, yes, exactly. You apply for this project as you see them. You provide the interest. Sometimes you come with a team. Sometimes you just apply for a project. After we approve that and your program approved that, it means that your program, ECE, Professor Fang and Professor Kors should approve you. At that time, we collect the name. There is a form that we give to you that you lock into that project. And then after that, around maybe when we get to the number of 20, 30, we pass it to the registrar office. So immediately it doesn't show in Acorn. It takes a little bit time for us to group them. For example, I don't know, 50 of you, we send it to the registrar, it shows up on the Acorn and so on. So that is the process.
Yes.
And you need to, it's highly competitive. The sooner you see a project that you are interested, apply for it. Don't wait. One more thing is the PY. If you go for the third year students who are going for PY, do not apply because you are going to put a danger of the cancellation of these projects because when you apply and then you go for PY, then there is a vacuum over there and then you don't know what to do at that time and the project may get canceled.
Yes,
so it's not fair to the other team members.
This is the same for ECE496. Basically, for those students who are going on to PY, like you're applying for it now for 2024, 2025, you don't apply for your capstone course because we don't want people to go in and then to disrupt the team. So it's only students who are coming back from PY, obviously, you're okay because you're finishing up your PY, okay? So that, okay, the other question is if you have only a couple of APS 490 projects that you're interested in, can you swap back to 496 if you don't get in? Yes. 496 is the catch-all course. You would definitely be allowed to sign up for 496 so long as you have the prerequisites, so long as you are on track to graduate by the end of, in this case, 2025.
Yes, absolutely. Kuman, I want to mention that it's absolutely, of course, you have the right to do that. The only thing is that if, the same as PY, if really you sign up for a project, make sure that you do all your soul search and make sure that you like that project. When you sign in that sheet, we assume that that sheet doesn't have much of a formal kind of a obligation. The only thing is that we want to make sure that you are registered in that project. In case that you change your mind, do it quickly because we have to staff that project. It's not fair to the other team members that they see that we have got already 2 ECE and suddenly both of them or one of them disappear. And that's not a thing. So make sure when you sign that sheet, you are really committed to that project, at least 80, 90% that we know that these projects are running.
Exactly. Yes. Same thing for ECE496. At this point, your professionalism becomes ever more important. Once you have committed to a team and a project, then you really are. That's a commitment is a commitment. Okay. So
Yeah.
treat that seriously.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other question? Come on.
No, I think that's. Oh, there's a couple from the hands here in the audience. So yes. What is the incentive? Well, we already talked about it. If you want to work, for instance, on a project with a client like Pratt and Whitney, if you want to work with students in mechanical, other departments, then that is the course to go.
Yes. The whole point is that you understand each other, you understand each discipline, what they do, and you learn from each other. Because you know that in real life, nothing is single disciplinary. Everything is multidisciplinary. So people are working together, so you need to know each other. So that's the incentive for that. And you're working with the real client. These are good projects, so you learn from each other.
Yes. Okay. And one more question, and then after that we'll move on. Yes.
I saw on the slide for this course, team is assigned. Can we choose our own teammate?
No, in this case, for APS 490, they have the administrators, instructors have control. So you can simply provide a ranking of the projects that you're interested in, then the decision rests with them.
What if is it possible if we propose our own?
But ultimately, you know that Professor Kors and Professor Fang are going to sign off on your approval of you to get involved with this project.
Yeah. So once you rank it, then it goes to the instructors, and we decide collectively how to staff the various projects. Okay. And yeah, there is a possibility of suggesting a project, as Professor Bedinan mentioned, but that would have to go through a vetting process. So if you have an interest, a project in mind that you want to propose it, then you should contact Professor Bedinan. Okay?
Yes, we need a client, and the good thing is that if you propose a project, you can have the incentive that you can form your team. So when you come with a team, for example, you already need couple of guys in mechanical, industrial, or other programs. You bring the project. When we approve that, and it should have a client, then all good to go. We normally make sure that the project runs.
Okay. Good. Okay then. So thank you very much, Cameron.
Sure. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great time. And any question, let us, but be patient a little bit. We have to sort it out. Hopefully, more information will come to you. Take care.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.
Okay. Let me see. Now, how do I go back to this? Ah.
Hey, Professor, can you hear me?
So this, okay, now let me go. So we went through those slides. Okay, now to the next. I have to share the screen again. Hold on. Okay. Here. Share screen, and then this one. Okay, share. Okay. Tasin, is that good? Okay. All right, so on to the next capstone, BME 498. Okay, so I'll present the slides for this one. Oops. Let's see. Okay. Come on. Right there. Okay. So as I mentioned, BME 498 is primarily targeted for students who are completing their biomedical engineering minor. Okay, that doesn't mean that if you aren't pursuing that, you're not allowed to go in, but it's a relatively small class size, about 20, 30 students, so priority will be given to those students doing the biomedical minor. Okay, the idea of the course is to allow you to get exposure to biomedical engineering, So, here's some sample projects. Some kind of medical device, maybe to detect cancer, some kind of disease, sense some disease, telemedicine, so remote access to healthcare, and medical devices, typically like mobile devices, measuring some kind of bioinformatic and dealing with some issue that patients have. Okay, so here's an example from 2017. This team won the John Sanders Award for an app, Music Kinesia, that they partnered with the Canadian National Ballet School to develop an app that would allow therapy program for patients with Parkinson's. And we had 2 ECE students, an engineering science student, and I think 1 student in neuroscience. So this course is multidisciplinary beyond engineering, so it goes into arts and science, kinesiology, neuroscience, physiology. It's also primarily student-driven in terms of the project, and you should have a client, so someone who is, someone who could use the device, who understands the needs, maybe someone who is visually impaired, for something that would help someone with a visual impairment. The course is supported by a good number of resources. You have primarily in the mining building, you have the design studio. So it's just kind of a collaborative workspace. You have access to design software, 3D printing, scanners, physiologic monitors for various signals like EKG for the heart, EMG for the muscle, EEG for the brain. You have a prototyping lab with solder stations, scopes, 3D printing, CNC machine, stereo microscopes. You also have access to the kind of a wet lab or a biology lab. So in case your project deals with you're cultivating cells, growing cultures, dealing with tissue samples, things like that, something that's a bit wet. So that's available to you as well. Let's see. What is this? Okay. Engineering research. No, okay. I thought they're okay. Okay. I thought there might be a few more slides. Let me see some other thing. There are lectures you'll have lectures being biomedical, then they'll deal with some of the relevant issues like regulation of medical devices, managing risk, obviously. You're dealing with actual, people as your clients, so there's a matter of risk involved. And then, because some of the students are not engineering, they also go through the design process for non-engineering students. And of course, the safety training that deals with anything relevant to your, general safety training and something specific to your particular project. Okay, and I think that's about it. So I mentioned, you can apply even if you're not a biomedical engineering minor student. Here, the main contact is here, and Professor Chris Boomister is the course coordinator, and so you can email him. Because it's a relatively small course, then it's more casual. You just email and they can get you set up. It's also later timelines, so it's okay to contact them in the summer. Whereas it starts earlier for the bigger courses because we have to get everyone going sooner. Okay? So I would say I would defer the questions to any quick questions, but otherwise then I'd defer to the IBME people. Yes?
Do you need bio courses like prerequisite?
Well, as I said, I guess it depends on, you'd probably have to talk to them. Maybe you're the software expert, and so they could use you without needing a whole lot of biomedical, and whatever you need may be sufficient to pick up on your own, but you should talk to Professor Boomeister. Okay? All right, so that's 2 out of the 3, and then finally let's go to ECE496, our flagship capstone course. Okay. So like all the other capstone courses, it's a chance for you to integrate and merge your soft and hard skills to something that's closer to real life. But I kind of consider it as a real life project, but with a safety net. So you have all the support network of us and the school. So it's not like you're trying to develop a product that goes out. So the risks are lower, but you do have the opportunity to take the project from beginning to end. And if done well, then it's a experience, one of your few experiences here, unless you've worked in a summer internship, to actually work closely with one of our professors and to develop a rapport and to provide an academic reference, particularly for those of you who are thinking about graduate school. Okay. And it's a chance to work on an area that's technical area that's specific to you, and it's a great point to start talking about your experience in an interview along with your PY experience. So it's a major part that we feel is so important. So as part of the accreditation, everyone has to go through a capstone experience and at the final year. That's why they call it a capstone. How early should you start thinking about it? The short answer is now. More detailed answer would be one, as early as you can find a team of, we form teams of 3 and 4, so getting 2 or 3 other colleagues to join you. As soon as you can identify a project of interest and a supervisor. So identifying a supervisor means actually like talking to the supervisor and getting their buy-in to your project and your team, not just picking someone and letting them know. You won't get very far that way. You have to talk to the supervisor, and then identifying the supervisor, talking to them. When you get all of those in place, we kind of gate that with the release of the projects in April around the time of the design fair. Okay, so these don't really happen, all of these don't happen right now, but you can certainly talk to your peers now and start getting a sense of what you'd like to work on. Okay, so the benefit, it's so beneficial. It's just like any other thing that you work on. If you have time to think about and prepare for a task compared to just jumping in at the last minute, it makes all the difference, especially for a whole year experience, right? So starting early gives you time to do background research, brainstorming, refining your idea, running into dead ends, but then just pivoting, setting the scope, doing all those things early on, so that come September you actually have a pretty defined idea of what you want to do, and you can focus on the project rather than finding a project. Okay, so that's the key. And yeah, getting an early start gives time for the supervisor to respond, especially as you get into the summer. The people go on holidays, travel, so it's harder to reach people. okay, where do these projects come from? As I mentioned earlier, it could be from students, could be from supervisors. So now I've put out the call for projects for the supervisors to post. So they will post up projects, ideas. It may not be a defined project, completely defined. It may just be a brief statement about what they're interested in finding a team for. Okay, but it's a starting point for a conversation. Okay, and then let me see. Can I? Yeah, camera. I can turn this on. Yeah. Okay. Good. Can I put myself in the corner? Does that work? No. Okay. No. Okay. That doesn't happen. See, the team comes to bring supervisor. Okay, so supervisor can suggest a project, and you can choose one of those. The students can bring to the supervisor, propose a project that they're interested in and want to work on and discuss that. The team comes to the supervisor, and together they develop a project of mutual interest. And this is a very dynamic process, so there may be changes before the start of the course. Having that summer to work through that gives you that time, okay? So let's move on. And here's a sort of overall timeline for the course. So basically, starting from now, you can start initial background research, finding team members, and then the registration would start around design fair time. So this whole background work is done over the summer from now to September. Then once the school year begins, then we're officially underway. You will meet your administrator. I'll talk about the roles in a minute. You develop a proposal for your project. You refine the proposal, and then you finalize it, and then you work on it, you develop the proposal. There's an end of term report, end of term meeting. Oh, there's also a meeting where you basically propose the project to your supervisor and administrator. There's the end of term report and meeting. Then we haven't defined all the deliverables, but likely there's a test document, and then there's oral presentations where you describe it to have a chance to present your project to other team, and there's a final report in the design fair. Okay, so there are some written deliverables, meetings, so presentations, and the design fair at the end. Okay. Okay, so in terms of the organization, you have the students are supported by your supervisor, your direct supervisor. This is your expert client who helps you define the problem and to work on the technical details. They'll give you their expertise. They may refer you to their graduate students, so you have additional expertise to call upon, technical expertise. Then in addition to that, complementary to that is your administrator. So an administrator oversees about a dozen or so projects, so they see multiple projects across multiple supervisors, and their role is marking the detailed marking of your written and your written reports, your meeting, so the deliverables, the design and the project planning aspects. The design, I'd say the design process. So your supervisor evaluates the technical quality of your work. The administrator looks more at the methodology and your project management. And both of these are crucial to you being a successful engineer. Okay? And then the communications instructor from the engineering communications program help with giving you feedback on your presentation, on your written deliverables, and in general, effective technical communication. Okay. So everything's still good, Tasim? Okay, so the registration process is done on the internal system that we developed for ECE496. And yes, you will form teams of 3 or 4, find a project, and there's multiple stages in this registration process where you bring team members in, you define the project, and then at each stage the team members have to confirm. So they can confirm that yes, I want to be part of that team. Yes, I want to be part of this project. And finally, when everyone's on board, only then do you send that request to a supervisor, and the supervisor, you should meet with the supervisor, get their verbal approval first, and then when they receive your automated request for supervision, then they'll know they're familiar with you, and they'll just quickly approve you. Okay, so the process is to meet informally first, and then formally register once all that is in place. Okay, and essentially, once you are registered, then you're committed to that project, and so you should take your time, and that's why we have many ways to you can have flexibility before you finally submit it to the professor. But once you submit it to the professor and he approves or she approves, then yes, then you're done. Okay, so one common question is, or one issue is, if you have a number of projects that you're interested in, then maybe take a little bit of time to make sure that you're all on board with the project. At the same time, though, you are competing with other teams, so you shouldn't wait too long, because typically a professor will take on a couple of teams, and then after that, they may also take on some thesis students, in which case that lowers the number of teams that they can take on, because it's capstone teams and thesis, engineering science thesis included. So they do have limited capacity to take on teams. Okay. So notes about the registration process. As I mentioned, if you are going on PY the coming year, you may not register. Okay, so just show of hands. How many of you are currently on PY coming back in the fall? Okay, the majority of you. Yeah, it's great to see you guys. Welcome back. So that does not apply to you. You are definitely going to be doing 496. This is for the students who are currently in 3rd year who are going on their PY. So you cannot register. Those students, you cannot register. Okay, you would have to formally withdraw from next year's PY in order to register. Okay, and as I said, once you've completed registration, you may not make further changes. Not without a lot of pain. Okay. Now, the capstone course, there will be, because it starts in September, but we have a whole lot of leg work to do until then. We have a temporary ECE496 site on Quercus, which we will import students in, and that's where where you can see the projects, and you can see, and we will post both the projects for ECE496 as well as APS490, so you can visually look at the projects that are available and make a comparison. Okay, so so that will be there to help with forming teams and finding projects. But I would, and that kind of happens, all of this kind of happens in April with the posting of the projects, and the ECE Design Fair, okay, which is April 9th to 11th. Now that we've kind of come out of COVID, we are will be able to invite third-year students again to look at this year's projects. This is not only a chance for you to look at the projects, but also to talk to this year's students about their experience, about their supervisors. So there's so much that you can get from them. I hope to also have some sessions afterwards to link you up. But anyway, put that down, mark that on your calendar, and that will be happening in the evenings over in my hall 150, okay, the big room. Okay, and then from then on until September, then you can apply to 490, 498, and 496. Okay, so the design fair, come take a look. The resources, here are the contacts. We have a mail alias called Ask496 at is it at ECE? Okay. At ECE? Okay, that works. Okay. So that includes myself, Professor Course, as well as the 496 instructional staff. So we have, you can email us that, through that. APS 490 has this registration email, or you can contact Professor Bedinan directly for more specific questions. And then for BME 496, that's the contact for Professor Boomeister and general registration. Okay. So I will talk more about getting people on board tonight so you can get started. But for now, let me just try to answer some questions. So let me take a look at the chat. Yeah. Okay, so we'll come on out and let's see. And maybe Tassin, if you could take a look at the questions and sort of maybe highlight the ones. Yes, question. If you could just sit, if you sit a little bit longer, and then what I'll do is I want to talk a bit more, get you involved in, let's see, well, what's the time? Probably basic time. Oh, 7 or 7, okay, yeah. If you have to go, it is past the hour. If you have to go to get to the next class, then please, you can. Yeah. Okay, I'll just give a minute for those who have to go. Okay, now let me answer questions. Yes. Okay, the question is, how does marking differ between this group of 3 and 4? Basically, it's the same criteria, but as part of the process, you'll be defining the scope of the problem or the project, and obviously a team of 4, there'll be a larger scope. But in any case, you'll be looked at by your individual contributions and how you coordinate and work together. Okay, Bruno?